Welcome to the first ever kids debate about God's existence. In today's presentation, we're going to cover three things. The first is a few proofs of God's existence in an acronym A, B, C, D, E, F. That's right, we're going back to preschool. Second, we're going to see what some of the most prominent scientists think about God's existence. And third, we're going to see about the Big Bang. Is it right? No. Or is it wrong? Fourth, we're going to watch 3 dramas. Each drama will explain us a concept. Each drama will tell us how God exists. As in, if God exists, then why is there so much evil in this world? So that we say something in glorification of Krishna. So please sit down and enjoy this presentation. So we're going to cover in this presentation 6 main points on how God exists. First, we're going to cover A. Artistry. Artistry leads. If there's artistry, there has to be an artist. If there's a beautiful organization, there has to be an organizer who organized it. If there's a creation, there has to be someone who created it, a creator. And if there's a design, there has to be someone who designed it, the designer. If there's energy, someone has to be the energetic using that energy. And if there are flawless laws, there has to be a flawless lawmaker. What is the first question that comes to your mind upon seeing these paintings?
Who created them?
That's right. Usually, whenever we see a painting, who made it? Or how did it come here? Now, who made these artistry? Who made this? Who's the artist? For example, to make an artificial rose, we need some paper, some glue, some scissors, and someone to make it. Now, who made the real rose? With its fragrance and delicacy, and it withers away on its own. It takes birth from such a small, tiny thing to such a beautiful flower. Who created it? And what to speak of the flowers in nature with their delicateness, biological complicacy and fragrance and their shapes and forms? Even the fake rose, please tell me, can Gopal make the fake rose? No. We need that artistic intelligence to make that fake rose too. So how much intelligence should that person have, God, to make?
We will be looking at 2 videos about bees and spiders to see how they create their beautiful organizations.
Bees are called social insects because they live and work together as a community. They gather pollen or nectar, guard the entrance, clean the hive, build the comb, make honey, tend the queen, and feed the larvae. They even on a hot summer day.
Oh, okay. How did the bees have the intelligence to create these beautiful creations? Let's ponder over this thought as we watch our next video.
Mathematician spiders. Compared to their own sizes, spiders build very large webs. Indeed, if we enlarged a spider to the size of a human being, the length of the web it weaves would be approximately 150 meters, which corresponds to a 50-story skyscraper. Is it possible for a human being to weave a lacework the size of a 50-story skyscraper in only an hour? But a tiny spider accomplishes much more than that. Moreover, the spider-woven web is the sturdiest material in the world. How do spiders weave these webs possessing miraculous features? The spider takes into consideration many factors while weaving a web hundreds of times larger than its own size. This task demands at least some calculations essential in constructing a building. For the accomplishment of this work, first the spider must draw a project like an architect, for a construction of this size, design, and sturdiness cannot be accomplished without an architectural project. Once the project is drawn, the spider must calculate the lifting capacity of each part of the web like an engineer. Otherwise, the web cannot remain suspended. In order to design such a web and make such delicate calculations, the spider must be more qualified than a college graduate. Indeed, there is not a university that provides education to the offspring. Following their birth, they begin to produce silk, weave web.
A bee and the spider both organize these beautiful organizations, but who gave them this intelligence? God is giving them the intelligence to be able to organize, be it spider or honeybee. So from these examples, we can see that beautiful organizations has to have an organizer behind it. Likewise, we see wonderful things created by a man. Look at this sleek car. Someone had to manufacture it. What about trendy computers? Someone had to assemble it. And then an elegant watch, someone designed it. These architectural marvels, someone erected it. Skyscraper buildings, someone built it. And wonderful sculptures, someone carved it. Shouldn't this universe have a super intelligent creator too?
Yes.
Yes.
So this shows that every creation has to have a creator behind it. Thank you. My next friend Arna will be deciding more points.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we can see that the sagua seed is only 1.5 centimeters wide. So when we plant the seed into the soil, a big tree comes up. So it's like a giant package in a tiny seed. It's when it grows up, it becomes more than 275 feet tall. It's the world's largest tree. It's like a giant tree it is packaged in a tiny seed. So when we compare it to other stuff, we can see that it's almost as tall as the Statue of Liberty. So it's really tall. So we can see that this small chip was designed by Intel. We also know that the human brain can store more information than all the libraries in the world. Isn't that so complex? Who designed this brain? So now let's go down to the micro world. All atoms are always properly organized. There is different laws and structures that are always created, but none of them are random. They're all designed. A slight molecular change can change graphite, which is really easy. Change it to diamond, which is indestructible. So there are these meticulous designs in the micro world. So there's many satellites always orbiting around our Earth. And there's people always 24 hours around the clock monitoring them. For one satellite, there's a big control room. So many people always monitoring it. We can see them in this picture. There's orientation, there's velocity, there's people monitoring the spin, and some people who are correcting some wrong stuff in the satellite. So there's the Earth. The Earth is being protected by the sun because the sun because the speed around the sun is really fast. Think about it. Who's in control of the planets? We have never heard of planets crashing. They're always orbiting in their orbits. Is it NASA?
No.
If traffic policemen control the signals of traffic, then who controls the traffic of revolving planets?
God.
So these are the marvelous designs in nature. We'll watch a video.
Around 1200 AD, a man named Leonard Pisano, better known as Fibonacci, discovered a sequence of numbers that created a very interesting pattern. The sequence begins with the numbers 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and continues indefinitely. Each number is obtained by adding the last two digits together. A rectangle with a length and width of any two of the numbers of this sequence forms what is known as the golden rectangle, a perfect rectangle. A golden rectangle can be broken down into squares the size of the next Fibonacci numbers down and below. If we were to take a perfect or golden rectangle, break it down into smaller squares based on Fibonacci's sequence, and divide each with an arc, the patterns begin to take shape. We begin to see Fibonacci's spiral. The spiral in and of itself is insignificant. Its importance is revealed in where we find it. Take, for example, the sunflower. The display of its florets are in perfect spirals of 55, 34, and 21, the sequence of Fibonacci. The fruitlets of the pineapple create the same spiral based on the sequence. The pine cone does the same. As currents move through the ocean and the tide rolls onto the shore, the waves that bring in the tide curve into a spiral that can be mathematically diagrammed onto a plot at the points 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and 55. Buds on trees, sand dollars, starfish, petals on flowers, and especially the nautilus shell are formed with this exact same blueprint. With each segment of growth, the nautilus adds to itself one more value on Fibonacci's scale. This blueprint can be seen around us on a small scale every day, but the greatest example of all is directly above our heads. At an average of 100,000 light years across, even the spiral of the galaxies above us are formed with the exact design that the tiny shell is formed. Our blueprint appears to be indicating the one who is there, a fingerprint. As we scan our universe from the tiny flower to the awe-inspiring galaxy, we see the fingerprint of God.
So this is the God signature. We find it in simple things as sunflowers, ocean waves, pineapples, or even in a seashell. Ask this question to yourself. Has any design come by chance or by its own? No. So there's always behind a design, there's always a designer. Now I will welcome my friend Anish to speak about his points.
the sun is very big and very powerful. About 1.3 million Earths can fit inside the sun. This sun is giving us the power on Earth to be able to live. Without the sun, we would all be extinct by now. But who created the sun? No living entities can create the sun, even billions or trillions of them. So if the sun is here, the only creator of it, it has to be God. Okay, fine.
Do next.
Yeah, I'm pressing the next button, it isn't coming. Microsoft PowerPoint is not responding.
Microsoft PowerPoint is not reciprocating what does God expect. It is not being a good boy. Wait, that kind of looks like good Nazis. Good Nazis. We were right about the sign.
The amount of energy emitted by sun per second is even more than the amount of energy consumed by human race throughout the entire history. I can't go next again. It isn't working. Okay, there we go. In 1 second, our sun produces enough energy to meet the current needs of the entire Earth for 500,000 years. If a stone from your window hits your TV screen, you'll ask, who threw the stone by supplying energy to it? Behind energy, there's always an energetic person. Then, who is supplying energy to the sun? Just like how the person who threw the stone is supplying force and energy into the stone so it'll go with enough power to break the TV, the God will be supplying energy for the sun to maintain the solar system. If energy leads to an energetic person, basically. Look at the world around you. All of the structures, homes, buildings, everything. Who made this? All humans made this, just like how God made the entire universe. My college starts at 9:30 a.m. Who made this law? The principal of the college made this law. Just like how God made laws for the universe about the material and spiritual world. In India, the car always has to be kept left, and in US, the car always has to be kept right. Who made this law? The Indian traffic police and the American traffic police. How many overs in a one-day international match? How many players in one team? How many ways a batsman can be out? Who made these rules? The International Cricket Council. Chemical or element arrangement is the periodic law and not the periodic chance. Laws of physics. An apple fell on Newton's head and he asked why the apple falls down instead of up. Then he discovered gravity. There cannot be a law without a lawmaker.
For example, there's the law of optics and the law of thermodynamics. In both the micro world and the macro world, there need to be precise laws of mathematical accuracy that govern this world. Flawless laws needs a lawmaker. There are different people all over the apartment. We don't choose our parents, our face cut, our intelligence. Who chooses and on what basis? Is it by chance? It is already shown that in the world of matter, physics, chemistry, thermodynamics, etc., follow definite, well-defined laws. How then can our birth, beauty, intelligence only be random events? Law of karma. Karmana devya netrana jantur deho papataye sritaya pravishta udaram pumso reta karna shreya. Under the supervision of Supreme Lord and according to results of one's work, the soul is awarded a new body. Flawless laws needs a lawmaker. Now I will welcome my friend Satya for more facts.
So people think that science and religion are two separate things. It's almost like if it's water and fire. Like you cannot mix them. That's what they're thinking, right? But some of the most influential scientists actually prove that science and religion can actually go together. So Einstein, who's considered the greatest scientist of the modern time, believes that God is real. And he says that God is not malicious or evil. So Einstein was very curious about how the world was created, and he even wondered why God even created the universe. So next is Schrödinger. He came up with a famous experiment called the Schrödinger's cat. And he believed that science has helped human a lot. And he says, but there's certain things that science can't explain, like the 5 main senses. A person or a soul who has 5 senses can actually take in information. So that's why if you hear a melody or if you look at an art piece, you're like, wow, that's so beautiful, or wow, that's such a good musical piece. But if you put a robot in the same situation, what is the robot gonna do? So that's why he believed that. And Lord Kelvin, who invented the International Absolute Temperature Scale, also known as the Kelvin, he believed that if you believe in science, you also have to believe in God. So here's the story of Isaac Newton.
I believe there's no God whatsoever.
No, there is God.
Well, if you can't see God, how can there be a God?
I haven't seen a God, but if you do not believe in God, then tell me, who made these planets? Who made this universe?
Well, of course, it's the Big Bang, and boom, and the whole universe was created.
How about you come to my house tonight for dinner?
Thank you for inviting me to your house.
No problem.
Whoa, that's such a cool model of the solar system. How did you make it?
Oh, it's simple. I just put some balls together, and then I used a bomb, and then boom! With the blast, there was that model created.
You're kidding me, right? How can a boom just create that big, beautiful model?
So, if you think about it, my friend, our real world is thousands and millions times more larger than that small model. So, if that big universe can be made from a boom, then why can't this small model be also made from a boom?
You've convinced me, my friend, that God does exist.
Hare Krishna.
That was a great skit, and now we can talk about Sir Isaac Newton. So Newton says that we're all souls and that the God is a master of the souls, and that we're in his domain and he controls us, as well as giving his shelter. He gives us shelter under him. And this is Max Born, who's famous for his quantum physics works, and he says that the smallest particle, also known as the atom, actually has God in it. And this is actually proven because in the Gita classes, we went over the 4 Vishnus, and the Garbhodaksha Vishnu is actually inside of every atom. And Srinivasu Ramanujan says that the equations don't matter unless it is thought of God. Heisenberg, who has helped make theory, says that there's a higher power that decides, and it's not based on our wishes. So if that's true, because if you wish for a Lamborghini, you're not going to get a Lamborghini, right? And yeah. And Faraday, who invented electricity, says that we should be privileged to know that God's truth exists, and it's the most important truth. That's why reading religious scriptures is actually very important. And please welcome the next presenter, Akshay.
So I think everyone here must be tired from all these facts. So now we're gonna play a little game. And now we will play everyone's favorite game show.
What is it?
Kaun banega crorepati? For $1 million. What is the origin of the universe? A. Big Bang. B. Big Bang. C. Intelligent design. Or D. Chance.
Intelligent design.
And the answer is intelligent design. Congratulations. You have just won $1 million. Now, it is time for double or nothing. $2 million on the line. For the final question, what is the purpose? To eat, sleep, and be merry. To make money and pass away. No purpose. Or to understand God and life. Two for $2 million. The answer is D. Congratulations! You have just won $2 million. Okay, now back to reality. We have to continue with the facts. Let's start off. Have you seen a complicated machine which came by chance and has no purpose?
No.
Any machine, computer, building, even a pen and pencil has a maker or designer. So logically, the far more complex and awesome universe must have a super intelligent designer and producer. So, the big brain? According to the Big Bang Theory, everything began from a point of infinite temperature, infinite density, infinitesimal size that is physically indescribable, mathematically unverifiable, and beyond all conceptions of space and time. A writer from the Encyclopedia of Britannica said, "It should be emphasized that no theory of the origin of the solar system has yet won general acceptance. All involve highly improbable assumptions." So instead of the Big Bang, shouldn't it be the big brain? And now we will have a skit of a professor and a student.
What is it answer? What is it? Can we see God?
Many people also ask, oh, we can't see God. How does it exist? This next skit will show you that God does exist.
Move aside. Move aside.
It's
Everyone
atheist
move.
side. I need the devotee thing.
Where is the devotee?
I don't know. Where the hell are we getting chocolate?
Where is the devotee one? Devotee also there should be. Right? It's okay, it's okay.
So, you believe God is real?
Yes, sir.
Is God good?
Yes, sir.
Is God all powerful?
Yes, sir.
My brother died of cancer despite praying for healing. Most of us would help those who are ill, but God didn't. How is that compatible with a good God? Can't answer, can you? Let's try again. Is God good?
Yes.
Is Satan good?
No.
And where did Satan come from?
From God?
That's right. Is there evil in this world?
Yes.
Evil is everywhere, and God created everything. So, who created evil? According to science, which relies on empirical evidence, the 5 senses you have determine whether things in this world are real or not. Have you ever seen God?
No.
Heard God?
No, sir.
Felt, tasted, or smelled God?
No, sir.
Then, according to science relying on empirical evidence, your God is not real. What do you have to say about that?
Nothing, sir. I only have my faith.
Yes, faith. And that's the only problem science has.
Sir, is there such a thing as heat?
Yes.
And is there such a thing as cold?
Yes.
No, sir. There isn't such a thing as cold. Cold is just the absence of heat. There can be more or less heat, but you can't have cold itself. Similarly, we measure heat, not cold. And sir, is there such a thing as good?
Darkness.
Yes.
Just. And is there such a thing as bad?
Yes.
No, bad is just the absence of good. You can be either good or you can either be not good, but you cannot be bad. Bad is just the absence of goodness. And finally, sir, is there darkness?
Yes. Night is darkness, isn't it?
No, professor. Darkness is just the absence of light. You can have dim light or bright light, but you can't have complete darkness is just the absence of light. So that it is immeasurable.
So what's your point?
My point is that your argument is flawed. You're thinking of God as something that can be measured, like heat, light, and good and bad, and good. But God, like darkness, cold, and good and bad, might be something beyond empirical evidence. And sir, do you teach your students that they evolved from monkeys?
If you're referring to evolution, yes.
Have you ever observed this evolution happening?
No, but...
So aren't you teaching opinions, not facts? According to your own logic, if you cannot hear, see, or touch something, then it does not exist. So does that mean we should not trust your lectures? And everyone, has anyone here seen the professor's brain? No, no one has seen it, felt it, or measured it. So, according to your standards, how can we trust your teachings? Exactly, that's my point. Faith is what connects us to the unseen. Faith is what keeps us moving and alive. This student was none other than APJ Abdul Kalam, the former president of India.
That was very nice of you.
Why are you
Everyone, if God exists, why is there so much bad happening in this world? We'll learn the answer through one drama.
God is so amazing. He made such a wonderful day.
Look, man, I don't believe in God as you say.
Why do you say that?
It's so simple. Just look out the street. So much abandoned children, so many sick people. No kind God would do that.
But, thank you for the haircut. The next day,
Can you say that? I'm here and I'm a barber.
if barbers existed, then there would be no person that has long hair or long beards like that man outside.
Well, that's his issue. He did not come to me. How am I supposed to cut his hair?
That's exactly my point. People do not come to God. Wait. People do not come to God. That's why there's suffering in this world. You say, if God exists, why is there suffering in this world? There's suffering in this world because people are selfish and foolish. There's a shortage of food, not because Earth isn't producing enough, but because greedy people are hoarding it all for themselves. When we can become selfless and pure, and we can go to Godhead. We become selfless and pure, and we also and there will be no fights and no lack of natural resources.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Today we heard some proofs about God's existence. Does anybody want to list them out for me? A.
If there's artistry, there has to be an artist.
If there's artistry, there has to be an artist. B. Beautiful organization tells us that there's an organizer. C. Creation requires a creator. D. Design requires a designer. E. Energy comes from energetic. F. Flawless laws come from a lawmaker. So now we also saw what different scientists had to say about God. We heard that the Big Bang Theory is not correct, and it's not the cause of creation, but the God's big brain is the one that created all of this. God can be referred as generator, operator, and destroyer. Since stories are the best way to convey points, we also saw some dramas. For example, APJ Abdul Kalam and Professor Story Show. The barber and the devotee story shows us that if there is so much evil in the world, then then God does not exist. But it's not true. And then there was the Newton drama and his friend, which showed us that the Big Bang Theory is not correct. Hare Krishna, thank you so much for listening and encouraging us. Now we would like to hear some positive feedback.
Hare Krishna. I request all the kids to come and stand here. We'll take a picture and maybe some of you can answer some of the questions that will come. Okay, so while they're standing here, so this is the format you can all follow if possible. So you can, we will go maybe from left to right. So anything that you liked in Ani's presentation, you can mention that. Everything. And then we'll go one after the other. We will take, once you give them some positive encouragement, we will do it at the end. They'll all take seats and they'll take question and answers also. Anyone wants to have any comments about Anish's presentation?
I think Anish recited the sloka very well. I'll just repeat it. Anish, you recited the sloka very well. Thank you.
Anyone wants to share some positive feedback to Shriyan?
I liked your acting skills as the atheist.
Me? Yes. For Akshay?
Wait, what about me? She didn't.
Akshay was so energetic and lively in his presentation, and he's a natural actor, looks like. Smita Mataji. Good job, Akshay. Hare Krishna.
Or Kovi? I'll share about Kovi. So Kovi came on board last minute, but still he managed to memorize a lot of lines and he did a fantastic job. Anyone for Arna?
I like your act about Isaac Newton.
By the way, she made the script.
Oh. So Arna wrote the script for Newton and the... So Arna wrote the script for Newton and the friends based on... Of course, it's a real life story, but she wrote the dialogues and... Okay, let's hear some positive feedback for Sahasrana.
Sahasra, she's a great artist. I'm not sure how many of you know this. It's like you give any complicated design to her, she just sees, grasps, and then she does it. And she exactly got that component of, narrating like who is an artist and, all of that. So she did it very well with her, artistry nature. So good job, Sahasra.
Mike? Oh, you want to say something? We'll take one and then later. Anything for Satya? Not none of you, but anyone here wants to share something about Satya?
Nice presentation, man.
I would like to second that. Satya was very effortlessly presenting, and he presented very well.
So he was calm and composed, and then he was very relaxed. So.
All of you please take chairs. This is unplanned. I deliberately didn't tell them there will be question and answers. They will freak out and not participate. So we will take some questions now. Keep it less challenging to begin with, and then let's see how much of they actually understood. Any questions? Does God exist? Go all the way back. TV. Any questions that you want to ask?
I can. So, very nice presentation. First of all, thank you everyone for putting a lot of effort towards this, and many of the facts were eye-opening for me also. It was very well put presentation and even dramas and all, so very nicely done. My question to you all is that what is your learning from this activity for yourself? Like if somebody comes to you and asks, does God exist, from your friends or from anybody you meet, how's going to answer that? Does it help you? What is your learning from this activity?
Okay, Akshay. More mics.
I think
It's on. No? It's on.
I think that if somebody asked me does God exist and like to explain, I would probably use that like big bang, big brain thing, because like that logically would also make sense, because if there's if even something as simple as like a pen and pencil has to have like a design and interior, the creation of the lead and all that, so then it makes sense that something as big, humongous, giant, and as awesome as the universe also should have a creator, or for us, a God.
This you can take.
Also,
Everyone can give an answer to this question because it's broad, so you can present your own.
Also, we forgot to mention this in the presentation, but Akshay said that even if the Big Bang Theory is correct, people say that there's like this really, really small ball that exploded into this universe. Well, who created that really, really small ball?
To prove that God is real, I would probably use the Fibonacci sequence thing. Like the fingerprint of God thing, it sounded very convincing and very real. Like so many things using the Fibonacci sequence, like and it's basically the fingerprint of God, so
I also like the God's signature, because like it shows like basically like most of the stuff in the universe is like basically like signed by God. So yeah.
I would use the law makers, because there's so many laws for physics. We don't just say by chance this happened, by chance that happened. Those all laws had a lawmaker. So I would say that there's also a lawmaker for this universe.
If someone asked me if God existed, I would also say about the God signature, because it's using something like about physics and mathematics, and like if someone doesn't believe that, then I don't know what they will believe.
If someone asked me that question, I would probably talk about like the scientists, because like they're so smart. They're smarter than like a regular human being. Like why would you not trust them? They invented so many stuff. Why would you not trust them on like a very small like detail? And like you can like change your life so much just by believing in that.
Next question. Is it out?
Okay, after all of this presentation, do you believe that God is the greatest scientist?
No?
1,000,000%.
I don't believe that God is the greatest scientist. I believe that God is the greatest everything.
The greatest entity. Everything. He's the best at everything.
Okay, next question. Okay. After
Balaji.
We'll get you a mic. There must be a fourth mic somewhere.
So you told that God is creator, he's a great organizer, and he's also a destroyer, you said in one of the statements. How can a great creator be a destroyer?
Okay, we'll go in.
Oh, the mic isn't on.
Leave the mic on.
Well, if God's the creator and the destroyer, it's time for him to be the greatest creator when it's time for him to be the greatest creator. Like when I need to build a Rath, I build a Rath, like in Jagannath Puri. But then after the Rath Yatra is done, then they don't use it anymore. So when it's time to create, Krishna creates. But when it's time to destroy, he destroys.
Oh, my thoughts on this is like Krishna creates everything like good, like temples and all. But then when like bad people create like bad things, like sweat houses, stuff like that, where they force us people to work, which is a no-no. Then God comes and destroys that. Like Kamsa was a very unfair and unjust ruler who took the crown from his father. So Krishna came down just to destroy him.
Amazing.
So sometimes he has to be a destroyer and sometimes he has to be a creator. That's why he's called the best at everything. Because he can switch from both sides.
Can any of you quote a verse from Bhagavad Gita that we covered last week, where he speaks about how God comes to destroy demoniac people? Okay, homework for the next session. Okay, you can try.
Paritranaya sadhunam vinachaya dushkritam dharma samsthapanataya sammame yuge yuge.
Anyone has any other thoughts on why does God destroy? If not, we will go to the next question.
Okay, maybe this is for Satya especially. So you mentioned, you talked about atom, right, which is the most important particle present in everything that we see, right? And you mentioned some relation to Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So can you elaborate a little more on that?
So basically, like, it was like what I remember from like last Gita class, because I remember Shyam Prabhu was telling us about like the 4 different Vishnus. So I was like, this was not even actually part of like the presentation. So I was just like thinking, I was like, wait, this kind of like reminds me of something. Like when I read that like quote by Max, that I was like, wait, that kind of like reminds me of like something that I learned. So I was like, yeah, and then I just like searched up. I was like, because I didn't remember, so I was like, I searched up like the 4 Vishnus, and then I was like reading about it a little bit, and then I found that it was Garbhodaksha Vishnu that's in every atom and is in every human basically.
You guys want to share some backstage stories, some interesting moments which you want to share with us while preparation?
Okay, go.
Like, you know how Kobe got his role last minute? Yeah, that's me. That's all me. Yes, he helped me. I was like during the meeting. While I was in the meeting, Kobe texted me on Google Chat what the meeting link was. I sent him that. And then like in the class, he's like, "What am I gonna do?" And then I went to the docs on my computer. And then like I was gonna change it, but then I forgot I had to ask. So like I asked if I could like change instead of me for Kobe for 2 reasons. 1, he could do something, and 2, I get less stuff to do. Well, I only speak the truth.
Good teamwork. Any more backstage stories?
Like when we were taking notes, like when everyone was taking notes, I remember that at the end we were taking notes, and then we tried doing the presentation, and then we just remembered that we should probably add some more, like why God does not exist, and then refute those arguments. So when we started doing that, we started using ChatGPT. I mean, later on my dad said no to that PPT. Like he just told us to use this PPT.
Of
but
course,
yeah.
the best.
Okay, more questions.
Anyone got questions?
Any kids here? Do you want to ask any questions? Any kids? No questions? Lila.
Okay, I'm convinced that God exists, but why are there so many religions?
I just believe that God is just one, but people of different castes, they just put random names to God and they're saying that there are different gods, although God is just one.
Yeah, I was gonna say what Anish said. Like, the God is one, and then people just like put different names to God. God is one, and then He just has different names. Each name is like a different religion or something. But yeah, like there are so many religions because so many people want to follow different things. So many people want to do different type of things to please God. So that's why there are different religions.
I also have something to add. So I think I was watching like this video. I think it was Ramakrishna Paramhans or something. Yeah. So he was actually born a Hindu, and people believe like basically Durga Mata was like basically like channeling through him, and he actually switched from Hinduism to Christianity to. He actually became a Muslim for a little bit, and then he like turned back into a Hindu, just to like look at the different religions and see like how are they different from Hinduism. But he actually came to the conclusion that they're all like basically the same God, but it's just different. It's just what different people believe in.
I basically had the same thing as those two, so nothing to add.
Very nice. We'll probably cover this in more detail, somewhat close, but for the sake of accuracy, I just wanted to say we will answer that in more detail, more accurately later. Any more questions?
Continuing on what Ramesh Prabhu just said, when there is God, why there are so many gods in our Hindu religion?
No, go ahead, Akshay and then Sri.
I think there are like many gods because I think there are many gods because like for Hindus like there are like different gods for different things. Like there's Vishnu for creation, Shiva like destruction of evil, Vishnu is preservation, Brahma is the creation, Shiva is destruction of evil, and like all the other goddesses like Saraswati for like knowledge and learning, Lakshmi for wealth, and like keeps on going on like that. Like some gods are evil dispellers, some are like Ganesha is the remover of obstacles. It's like that for us.
So the question is why?
So there's so many gods. Well, they're not. All of them are not gods. There's only one God, and then there are many like demigods. So each demigod is assigned for like a different task. They're made to like preserve the universe that they're in. So yeah.
Any more?
So if God created everything, why does natural calamities happen when devotees are going to God's places like Kedarnath, catastrophe, and I think there were a couple of others too.
I think maybe because like something bad might have happened there, so like maybe like God's trying to protect his devotees. Like when there are landslides and things, like in Kerala, there are like a lot of landslides and stuff near small towns and villages. Maybe because like something even worse was gonna happen, so like I think it's just like for trying to protect us from things happening that could be even worse.
So, I think that it's because the test, like if you're coming to Gita class here and then suddenly like the road here to here is blocked and then the other road takes like really long, you're like, why don't we just quit? Let's just go back home. Like it's fine. So it's to test our sincerity, like our determination to go to that place or connect with Krishna. He just puts like roadblocks in front of us so that we don't to check if we're actually really sincere or are we like, sure, let's just go back.
So I think this is part of the question. So if the problems are like obstacles, what you mentioned makes absolute sense. Mataji also meant sometimes people are going and their bus slides and then everybody in the bus dies. So they're going to God on a pilgrimage, and how do you explain those scenarios where catastrophes like that happen?
Krishna just wants to take them closer to him. Well, they're going to a holy place, so that means they're in Krishna consciousness. They're thinking about Krishna then. So he just wants to take them closer to him really fast. So he just so then he just makes them leave this world so that they just go to the spiritual world, and then they think about Krishna, so then they just go to him.
Do you remember any verse that talks about what happens to people who are in Krishna consciousness at the time of leaving their body? How is that beneficial for them?
Yum yum. Yum yum vapi swaran bhavam tyajantante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kauntaya sadatad bhava bharata bhavita.
Very nice. We will help all the kids memorize some of the important verses. You can use them to answer questions like this in future. Any more questions?
Benefit if you can do the translation of the
translation.
Okay, this is not perfect. But like one who leaves this world thinking about Krishna goes to Krishna, I guess.
So can you complete the answer to Mataji's question? So so those who are going to the holy pilgrimage, they die because the bus crashed. I don't know if Mataji is convinced.
Yeah, already.
She is convinced. Okay, good.
I don't know, it could be a tough question. Hare Krishna, everybody. My question is about violence committed, perpetuated in the name of religion, when everybody is trying to go towards attaining God or pleasing God. Why is there so much religious hatred and also violence? It's not only now. Even if you go back 400, 500 years, there were many sinful activities committed by many religions that are supposedly peaceful religions today. So it's a religion that is notorious today, but even other peaceful religion that is peaceful today actually committed atrocious crimes. Even in India, the same religious people less than 75 years ago literally caused death of 4 million people, 4 million, and it was committed by none other than the so-called great leader Churchill, one of the worst, in my mind.
Who that?
Yeah, he caused famine in Bengal, and due to that 4 million people died. So, yeah.
What's the famine?
Famine.
Is it when there's no rain?
No, famine means you don't have anything to eat.
A drought or you have no rain?
Whatever is grown is shipped away, and when there is drought, when there is nothing growing, whatever is already available, that is shipped away. So there are many people of this nature that commit a lot of crimes, but I am more talking about the violence committed in the name of religion. Why does it happen?
How is that in religion?
No.
How is that for religious purposes?
I think, maybe we can ignore that part of the question. So look, I'll summarize the question for you. We see in this, even in modern times also, we see that people in the name of religion kill others or fight with others. So religion, which is supposed to bring peace, 9/11 incident, and yeah, so many. So any thoughts? Okay, we will hear from those who haven't spoken too much. So, any thoughts? Okay.
Well, I think.
Okay, maybe we will take the answer for this, and after that we'll go back to the previous question.
Okay, so, well, it's not the fact that it's not the fact that they're religious. It's more because of their greed / like hatred. So we know that like Ravana, like he was very religious. He was very like he prayed to, I think it was Shiva. So he prayed to Shiva, but then the thing is, he only wanted it for himself. He wanted his own, like, for his own selfish gain. So that's why he did that, or else he would be very pious. But then the thing is, people who claim to be religious nowadays in modern times, they're only doing it because of their own selfish gains, and yeah, that's why.
So I think they might have some values from their friends or like other people who might affect their thoughts, and then like they might really hate that religion. Like they get some values or like thoughts from other people. Like they tell them that this religion is bad, and then when they hear that thing many times, they eventually hate it so much that they end up killing people in the name of religion.
Any other thoughts?
Like there's so many
Finish.
There's so many incidents where people, they just like think that, well, he did this religion, did this to my religion, so I have every right to do this to that. Like Hitler, he killed the Jews only because they persecuted Jesus Christ. Well, they're not even the same people, and just because the religion is the same doesn't mean that it has to be the same mentality. People might have like been triggered by old thoughts of that religion or those type of people to have violence.
So I have one last.
So there is one previous question that Sahasra wanted to answer. So I don't know if you have. Arna wanted to answer. Okay. So
No, the one previous to this.
previous question was about people
Why
going
people
to
pilgrimage.
while people are going on to pilgrimage, why do bad things happen to them? If you want to add anything more.
I'm not sure, but I think the Titanic could be an example of that. Like apparently there was this family that was gonna go on Titanic, but like on this huge ship to go to the other side. But the thing is that one of their family members got bitten by a dog and they got rabies. So they couldn't go, like they had to get quarantined. So I'm not really sure if this was the whole story, but like, so this is what I think happened. So like, when they got quarantined, they couldn't, like they missed the ship by like 1 day or something. So they couldn't go. And then later, like after, they hated God at that time. They were like, wait, why did this happen to us? Why did this happen to us? And then after like few weeks, they got to know that Titanic sank. So they were like, oh, God protected us.
So God sometimes may protect our body, but sometimes He may protect our consciousness. However He does it, He does what is best for us, right? So that's the.
So it's a basic question. So I just wanted your idea. The thing is, if you were made education ministers and you are taking control of all the schools, so and then so will you be able to incorporate like a 5 minutes or a 2 minute prayer section for all kids in the school, only 2 minutes, so that they can think of their own God. Will you incorporate it?
Pledge of America or something, like who made that and who made it into schools? Like, I mean, we don't do it in our school, but like people who made that. So yeah, we can get it in the school though. Like the same way whoever made the Pledge of America got the Pledge of America into schools, the same way we'd probably do that. Like we tell all unified districts.
Will it help everyone?
Yeah, it will help everyone. We'll just tell all unit districts. All unit districts, you have to do the 2-minute prayer session, or else I don't know.
Okay, so I was reading like a couple weeks ago. So it was like this video about should religion be incorporated back into schools. So a lot of people think that because like everyone worships different religions, that they if they incorporated like which God are they gonna pray to, right? So that's why it's not a thing. But actually before, in like the 1900s, it actually like for Christians like in America, that actually used to be like a thing at school. So everyone would go to like church and pray, and at that time there was very less crimes. There's very less like selfish like desires, like greed, selfishness, lust, stuff like that. But now, since it's not being taught as much and people are just thinking of it very lightly, like, oh yeah, I could just go pray some other day, or oh yeah, I could just do something else instead of praying. That's why they're more they like want to like give into their selfish desires more. So that's why I think it should be incorporated, so people would stop like stealing or like being greedy and stuff like that.
So would you incorporate, and why?
So after hearing what Satya said, I feel sorry. So I feel like if people are more connected to their beliefs and like God, they will like realize that being good is better than being like bad, and they'll understand that like doing good things can help you and help others. So yeah, that's why I think it should be incorporated.
Okay, we'll take one final question.
Final question.
Final question is, what's the prasadam?
Yes, and it's related to that. Actually, the question is related to that. So, building on what Uma Mataji was asking, praying to the God, right? It was also a habit and culture in every religion to pray before you eat, before you honor the food. I mean, you pray to the God. What are your thoughts on that? Should it be done, and how can we incorporate that in school or our day-to-day practice? Looks like everybody wants to answer that.
We'll start with Anish and then Kovi.
So the way they can like incorporate like all the religiousness and like prayers before eating food before school, you could just do some like food prayers, which will take like a minute or two at the religiousness in the school, like for the food.
And you can also answer, maybe not just in school, in general, what is your learning from the practice, day-to-day practice and your life? As a change start with us, right? So.
I feel like it's like kind of already like there, cause like if you could like people could like bring their own lunch from home, and like they could pray and like offer it to God, and then like bring it to school, and then they could eat it. So I feel like it's already like there. So,
You go ahead first.
So, I think praying to God should be a yes, because, look, if you're a kid and then you made something really cool, you'd first show it to your dad or your mom or something, and then you'd be like, hey, look at this, and then you'd show it to them, and then you'd actually like start playing with it. Like you wouldn't try to play with it a lot before you show them. So like the same thing, we believe that Krishna is our ultimate dad, our ultimate father, our ultimate mother. Then we will do the same. Like we will also offer him the food. Usually in older times, since wives were like first husbands used to eat and then wives. So like the same way, Krishna eats first because he's like our master sort of. Like he not sort of master. So yeah. Why did I say so?
Thank you. Many more wonderful. The goal was probably face, and I'm sure each of you will remember the part that you did at least, and hopefully the whole thing. So we look forward to your next presentation, hopefully sometime in October. So please keep the energy going, and all of them or most of them attend the morning call. They are chanting every day. They are reading Ramayana regularly. So we hope to hear more presentations from all of you. So please memorize verses, keep hearing more classes. So next time you'll be more prepared for answering even more difficult questions. So thank you very much for putting all the effort. Hare
Also, by the way,
Hare Krishna.
And also, by the way, if you're thinking that you didn't get your $2 million, well, the $2 million, well, the class and the prasadam is worth $2 million, so you got it.